So in today's video, we're going to be deep cleaning this Ford Explorer on the inside and the outside that's been trashed by kids on the inside, and then the outside is just super dusty and not been cared for, which you guys seen in the before shots. That clay bar was completely covered with gunk. So we have our work cut out for us today, but we're going to be ripping out the entire interior, deep cleaning the entire thing to make this thing look like new. And if you haven't subscribed, smash it down below and turn on those notifications. And in this video, we're going to do something special. I need you guys to comment below, how much change do you think I found in this car? This is a little collection here, and the person that gets closest first is going to win $500 in cash, and I'm going to announce it in next week's video. So make sure you have those notifications turned on, you're subscribed, so that way you can see who won in next week's video. Now, first things first with the details, we're going to get the outside cleaned up. We're going to start with pressure washing the outside, getting any of the super thick dirt off the car, any of the dust that comes off easily before we blast everything with the foam cannon and let that kind of do its work as well. If you don't have a pressure washer or don't have a foam cannon, a really easy thing to do is just take a microfiber towel, dip it in your fresh soapy water bucket, and then just lay it on a problematic area that has a collection of bugs on it. What that essentially will do is let it soak, it'll loosen up any of that debris, it'll make it really easy to wipe off when you're actually doing your wash stage, and it just saves you some time if you do it up front, just to lay those on those specific areas that you know that are going to probably be problematic. Now, if you're planning to do the inside of your car as well, I would go ahead and open up all of your doors, the trunk, go ahead and blast out those door frames, because honestly, if there's any light spraying of water inside the car, you're going to be wiping it down anyways, and it saves you time. It makes it a lot easier to get that process and get that step done now. Now, when I clean wheels and tires, I have several different types of brushes that I use to get inside the wheel drums, to get inside the fender wells, to clean the wheel faces and the tire faces. But I use my detailing brushes specifically for around the lug nuts. And if you are looking for detailing supplies, head on over to my website, foxclean.com. I have detailing brushes, microfiber towels, drying towels, which you'll see me use in this video as well. And for this week, I'm actually going to be dropping in $100 bills in several packages. So if you guys haven't headed on over to Fox Clean to pick up your detailing supplies, you just might be one of the lucky few that gets an extra $100 bill in your order. Now, when I wash cars, I always try to take my wash mitt in the same direction that the air would be going over the car if you're driving down the road. And the main reason is if you go a different direction and you cause any sort of scratching or any micro scratching, you're going to cause it to be more visible than if you just went the same direction if you had like sand or debris when you're driving down the road. Now, once we have all that soapy, dirty water blown off the car, it is now time to clay the car. And this is not something you do every time, but this car itself, if you ran your fingers across it, it literally would drag like almost sandpaper because of the amount of contaminants that were on the surface. So for me, I don't use any special spray or lubricants. I just use the soapy water in my clean bucket. The main reason you do this is you're trying to create a clean surface. For one, if you're going to do a polishing stage, so that way you're not spreading around that gunk that's on the surface. But if you're applying any sort of wax, you want to make sure you're applying it to the paint and not on top of any of this crap that's on the paint that gets collected over time. The best thing about using a clay bar is as you use it, the surface gets a lot easier to slide it across, and that's when you know that you've completely removed the contaminants from that surface. But the winner of the award today is this rear door panel of how much crap it collected. It honestly was surprising for myself of how bad it really was. Now that I've pressure washed all of that soapy residue from the clay bar in stage, I like to just take the hose without any attachments to cause a sheet of water across the surface. And the main reason I like to do this on any car that I work on is it causes majority of the water to pull itself off the vehicle. So that way when you do your drying stage, you don't have a crazy amount of water that's just stuck to the surface that would have easily come off when you just use the straight hose to sheet it off. Now, since we're not going to be polishing and paint correcting this car, it is a good idea to use some sort of sealant or coating on the vehicle to kind of protect that paint. So for today, I'm going to be using the Turtle Wax ceramic spray coating. It's one of those spray-on coatings. You know, Turtle Wax makes one, Meguiar's makes one, Chemical. I mean, everybody pretty much makes one of these sprays now. They go on real easily. They last longer than a typical standard Carnauba wax. It's a happy medium. It protects the paint, makes it look nice for the owner, especially if they're not going to go to the level of a full paint correction with a full-on ceramic coating. I also like it because you can use it on the glass and the rims as well. So it's kind of like a good all-around sealant to protect the car. Now with the outside all cleaned up, it is time to go into the inside, and the first step for me typically is to remove the seats from the car. It gives me a better idea of what's underneath them and how much extraction needs to be done, but also it just makes it easier to work inside the vehicle, especially if you're going to be cleaning up the seats and all of the carpets underneath them. Now, a detailer's favorite thing to see is beach sand or any sand whatsoever. It's literally like the devil when it comes to detailing, because if it gets into carpet, it's really, really hard to get out. And this one was no exception, because the owners of this vehicle had gone to the beach recently, and that is why you're seeing little pockets of sand here, and the trunk was no exception as well. So if you're a detailer or if you're an owner of a car and you've had sand inside your vehicle, you completely understand what I mean by that. One thing I did want to mention is how close we are to 1 million subscribers on this channel. So with that being said, I do want to say thank you guys for being subscribers, being part of this Stauffer Garage crew, watching these crazy detailing videos. It's honestly amazing that we're that close, and we're going to hit that milestone very, very soon. So I just want to say thank you guys for being part of this thing and it just helping support this channel. It means a lot to me. Now, if you're interested in any of the products I use, I have my Fox Clean website for some of them, but everything else, I do have Amazon links in the description box below for you guys to check out if you're interested in picking up any of those products. Now we're going to be extracting all of the carpets and the seats in this car, but one thing I have noticed that works better for me from a process standpoint is I like to clean all of the interior paneling first, especially anything above that carpet line, just because of the fact that once you extract the carpets, the last thing you want to do is climb in and have the risk of causing any sort of dirt to get onto those carpets. I mean, these ones are black, so it's kind of difficult to see if that actually happened, but if you have that risk, it's just something to minimize by getting the top part first, getting that paneling and the dashboard done, and then get into your extraction. Now for this detail, I'm actually reverting back to an old carpet cleaning product that I used to use about 2-3 months ago, and I haven't used it recently because I've been using the Chemical Guys stuff because I feel like it smells better. But for this one, I wanted to switch back specifically because I feel like lately I've had a lot of foaming in my products, and this stuff works really well with minimizing that, but it also is used for mostly industrial type indoor fabrics or carpet cleaning, and I was really impressed with how well it cleaned up these seats in particular. I do want to say thank you to everybody that gave a bunch of suggestions in the last couple videos of different types of extractors they recommended or have used in the past. It definitely helped with me minimizing and kind of reducing the different options that I was looking at picking up to maybe replace the one that I'm using now. I think for this front seat, I was most impressed with the color difference. You can see here the line forming by doing half the seat at a time. How dirty these things actually were, but because they were black and dark charcoalish in color, it's really hard to kind of tell the level of dirt over, say, a tan or a white colored interior. Now, when it came to doing the interior carpets of the car, I had a pretty good idea that it wasn't going to ever be perfect. And that's because the owner of this vehicle hadn't had floor mats in their car for a very long period of time. And because of that, no matter how much extraction you do, you can see here, I could have pulled these to pressure wash. I just didn't have the time for this customer in particular because we were doing the outside of the vehicle. But I did the best I could with the extractor, doing multiple of passes, and they turned out nice. But one thing I do recommend, if you don't have floor mats, pick up some floor mats, whether they're rubber, they're OEM fit, whatever they are. Floor mats make a ton of difference, especially if you're a front passenger, just because those are the seats that get sit and occupy the most. Now, I don't show it in most of my details, but I actually return the car the next morning to the owner, so that way overnight I can have my fans and everything inside the car, drying the carpet, drying the seats, so that way when they get it back, they're ready to go and they're not going to sit down and get their pants all wet. It doesn't make sense to me to give it back to somebody with everything wet when it just takes an extra 12 hours to get everything completely dry. Now, even though there wasn't any paint correction done in this car, just by clay barring it and using that ceramic coating top coat, it does make the car look completely different. It makes that paint look shiny. It makes it look wet. It just brings back the brilliance of the paint that was there from the start. And the owner was extremely pleased with how the car turned out, especially the interior. All of that sand is always a pain in the butt to get up. And as a detailer, if I can help somebody have a better experience in their car, it just makes it all worthwhile. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you are new and you haven't hit that subscribe, make sure you hit subscribe. And don't forget to guess how much change I found in this car in the comments below, so that way you guys can have a chance to win that $500 by next week's video. So thank you guys for watching today, and I'll see you guys in the next detail. Bye, guys.